My name is Kelly. I'm married to the man of my dreams and living in a beautiful apartment in the city center. We're close to all the action, our work, the nightlife, our friends, and the best shops in the district. We were happy. I and Damien had a son, and I was pregnant with our second child. I liked his family. Damien's sisters were great to hang out with, and his older brother was like an older brother to me too. I never had siblings growing up, so to find siblings in Damien's family was a blessing. I never knew to expect it. His father was a kind man who was reserved but loved to spoil his children. It wasn't unheard of to go to pay the bill and learn that his father had called ahead and paid for them. It was nice to be a part of a family. The mother, however, was a different story.
I can't begin to imagine what Damien was thinking when he settled for you. And I guess there's no going back now, is there? Since you've got yourself knocked up.
Damien and I are in love. I don't know why you're so against us.
If you don't know, then you won't understand. Just know that being pregnant doesn't mean you can lay about.
I have a job.
Oh, I see how it is. You think having a job excuses you from household work? You're a wife and a mother. You can't just avoid the work because it's convenient for you. Honestly, what a disgusting work ethic.
I could feel my stress levels rising already, but my doctor already warned me against letting myself get worked up. I just chose to ignore her hurtful comments and get on with my work. My company is a publishing house, so I don't need to be in the office every day of the week. The nearer I got to my due date, the more often I chose to work from home.
You might have Damien fooled, but I know it's not a real job. You're just on your damned computer all day.
I work on my computer. Everyone does. Would you like a coffee?
Are you trying to kill my godchild before it's even born by drinking coffee?
I hated it when she shouted at me, but she seemed to revel in how red my face would get when I was holding back either tears or angry words.
It's so unfortunate how plain-looking you are. His high school girlfriend was so pretty. She had the nicest hair. I don't know why he'd settle for you.
I'm eternally grateful that he's no shallow enough for that to matter. Now coffee? I'm going to have a cucumber water myself.
I don't trust you a second to make consumable coffee. I'll do it. That way I can be sure you're not drinking any either.
That's fine. It was actually agonizing to have to sit around and listen to her complain about me in whatever way she finds most amusing at the time. It's not always unbearable, but today, Damien is working late, and he'd forgotten to warn me that his mother was going to spend the day as her home was being renovated. If I'd have known, I'd have gone into work. I kept mostly to myself for the rest of the day, but I could hear a lot of movement and muttered obscenities from the next room. She was baiting me, and I wasn't going to take it. I left her to her mission, and figured that Damien could handle it. True enough, Damien came home later that evening and complained loudly to his mother about her interfering ways, and how she shouldn't just move stuff around the house.
Well, I wouldn't have to if she had offered to help.
I could tell by the way she said she, like it was a dirty word, that she was talking about me.
We've talked about this, Mother. She's my wife. I love her. She's as much family to me as you are. Stop treating her like this.
Oh, my poor baby. She's turning you against me.
Mom, give it a rest, okay? Kelly is a good person. She's a hard worker. And I won't hear any more of your awful rhetoric.
Naturally, I hoped that that would be the end of things, but I knew it was too hard for her to go cold turkey on the insults. The next weekend, we all attended her birthday party at a lake house. I kept myself out of the sun. I was 7 months pregnant and I didn't want to overheat while carrying around the giant lump on my stomach.
Are you just going to hide away in here all day? Take these trays of canapes down to the poolside. And be fast. I need you to take these jugs of margarita too.
She didn't let me sit down. While everyone else was busy setting up the gazebos and tables, I was going up and down the hill in the heat carrying the food and drinks down. I started to feel tired immediately, but by the 5th trip, it was morphing into sickness.
Don't slow down. We've got the guests coming in 30 minutes and everyone is busy. Hurry up.
I felt, for the first time, like she wasn't being unreasonable. Everyone was busy setting up, and I had no business sitting to the side and doing nothing. I wanted to be helpful. I don't feel great. I need to take a rest.
Don't you dare. After all the work I've put into this special day, you can't even give up a minute of your time to help? Carry these boxes down, you ungrateful swine.
It was the last batch of things she needed me to take down. I thought maybe, if I did this, she would let me rest in peace without having to suffer through her barrage of insults. I've got a headache and my ankles hurt and I feel woozy, but if I can just get this done, then it's okay. I took the box down and put it on the table, but then stumbled.
Kelly, are you okay? Goodness, you shouldn't be out in this heat. Come in the shade. Sit down.
You look sick. I'll get you some ice water. Sit down.
No, I need to help.
What's going on here?
She's been out and working in the heat. She's unsteady on her feet and growing pale.
Kelly, what were you thinking?
I needed to help.
Kelly, you lazy lump. Get up here. I've got more stuff you need to carry. Kelly, where are you? Get over here now.
Mother, you've been making her work in this heat? Are you serious? She's 7 months pregnant.
I don't feel very well. If there's any place you want to fall ill, it's with Damien's older brother around. He's a doctor and very caring. He helped me lay down on the bench and put a cooling cloth on my forehead. Unfortunately, it didn't help. Blood started to pour down my legs, and I was rushed to the hospital.
Mother, you did this.
She's ruined my birthday celebration with her histrionics. How dare you?
I'm so sorry, Kelly and Damien. There's nothing I can do.
Damien's brother explained that due to emotional distress and physical stress, my body couldn't recover. I lost the baby.
Mother, you know how dangerous it is to have someone pregnant working so hard. How could you?
You should have told me you wanted to stop.
I tried. You accused me of being selfish and trying to ruin your day. I did everything you wanted and you ruined my life. How could you? Damien and I were devastated. My brother and sister-in-law forcibly quit their mother from the room.
I've no time for someone so cruel and thoughtless. How dare you put yourself above Kelly and the baby? You don't deserve to be a part of this family.
Yeah, I agree. Your birthday present this year is that you never have to see Kelly again, nor will you ever see me again.
Or me. I've no interest in spending time with someone like you.
6 months later, we hadn't heard from the mother-in-law, and we were pregnant again. My heart still hurt for the life we lost, and I knew I would never forgive my mother-in-law, but she got what she deserved. She killed my baby, and she lost her family in return. I hope she's miserable. My brother and sister-in-law often come around to spend time with us, and recently my sister-in-law told us she will be getting married soon. It's a pity that my mother-in-law won't be around to witness this happy event or to ruin it. We hear that she now lives with her cat and is getting really old. Her bad attitude and the fact that she looks down on people have probably driven away her close friends. I sometimes feel pity for her. Thanks for watching. Please like the video so it can be recommended to others.
That's the problem, Mrs. Langston. Lindsay confided in me that when she and her stepfather are alone together, he touches her inappropriately, and he tells her to keep it a secret so neither one of them will get into trouble.
My name is Kate, and I'm 35 years old. I'm a mother to an 8-year-old daughter, Lindsay. I had her during my marriage to my ex-husband, which only lasted a few years. Frederick had started out as a loving guy, and I was sure he was my soulmate. We met just after I graduated from college when I bumped into him in a coffee shop. I didn't see him as I turned to leave and we collided, making me spill my coffee all over him. Frederick was understanding about what happened and even bought another coffee for me. After that, we ended up staying in the coffee shop, talking for hours. He was fascinating. At the time, he'd just gotten a job as a veterinary assistant, and he would tell me about all the animals that he'd help examine and treat. I loved to hear about his work, and I especially loved the way he would light up when talking to me about it. He had a passion for helping animals, and I couldn't help admiring that part of him. After a few years of dating, Frederick proposed to me, and I said yes. We were married later that year, and 12 months after that, I became pregnant with Lindsay. At the time, I couldn't have been any happier. Frederick and I had been talking about starting a family of our own for a few months at that point, and when I found out that we were having a baby, I knew I was ready to become a mother. I broke the news to Frederick that night, and he took the news well. Honey?
Yes, dear.
I have some very exciting news for you.
Well, what is it? Don't keep me in suspense.
I'm pregnant. We're going to be parents.
You're pregnant?
Yes.
That's wonderful. This is exactly what we've been preparing for.
That night, he kissed me and held me tight, and we stayed up half the night going over baby names we liked. Throughout my pregnancy, Frederick was there at my side, making sure I was healthy and that all of my needs were met. He attended every doctor's appointment with me, and every day we both got more and more excited. I was healthy for all 9 months, and one day my water finally broke. I was ecstatic. Except my excitement disappeared when I couldn't get a hold of Frederick. He'd gone into work that morning and told me to call if anything happened. He promised me he would pick up the phone as long as he wasn't treating a patient. But when I called, the secretary said that he had never arrived at the building. I was worried about him, but I had to think about getting to the hospital since I was going into labor, so I called one of my friends to drive me. Hours later, after our sweet baby girl was born, there was still no sign of Frederick. I was beginning to worry about him. Since giving birth, my friend had gone outside and tried to call him multiple times, all with no success. Then a police officer walked into my hospital room, and immediately I got a sinking feeling in my stomach.
Are you Kate Langston?
Yes. What are you doing here, officer?
Ma'am, I'm very sorry to have to tell you that your husband, Frederick Langston, was killed in a car crash earlier today.
When I heard that, it felt like my whole world had shattered. It was the most difficult challenge of my life to have to continue on without my husband and the father of our child. I loved Lindsay, and it was my greatest joy to raise her, but it was also the most difficult thing I had to do by myself. At times, it felt like I was completely alone, even with my friends stopping by to help sometimes. It took a few years before it felt like I could breathe again and talk to Lindsay about her father without wanting to cry. After Lindsay turned 12, my friend Christine introduced me to my current husband, Jeremy. He was friendly and wanted kids of his own, so she thought we would make a good match, and that having another person to parent Lindsay would make things easier for me and my daughter. Jeremy and I got along well, and having him in the house did help alleviate some of the stress of parenting, not to mention how well he got along with Lindsay. On nights I had to work late, Jeremy would stay with Lindsay and make sure she was taken care of, and oftentimes would spend as much of his free time as he could bonding with her. With the comfort I felt being around him, and the way he got along with my daughter, I couldn't help accepting his marriage proposal. That was about the same time I started to notice some changes in Lindsay, but I didn't think anything of it at the time. After our wedding, I started to notice Lindsay's grades slipping, and she began to grow more and more quiet and reserved. She started to drift away from the sweet and friendly little girl that I'd raised. At the time, I thought that maybe she was being bullied in school, so I approached her teacher and asked how the other students had been treating her. Only the teacher, Ms. Parker, said that Lindsay, before she'd started shutting people out, was friendly with a lot of the students. Most of the class was able to get along with her, and the rest didn't mind Lindsay. I was at a loss. I didn't know what was going on with Lindsay and how to help, so one night I went into her room after dinner and asked her, "Lindsay, honey, is there something going on?" Lindsay wouldn't look me in the eyes and didn't answer my question. She didn't say anything at all. Whatever was happening, she wasn't comfortable telling me about it. And while that broke my heart, I decided not to push the issue. I told Jeremy about my concerns, and he immediately reassured me that I shouldn't be worried.
It's all right, sweetheart. Maybe Lindsay just has some kind of learning disability, and it's making her self-conscious. It's nothing to be scared about.
Jeremy made a good point, so the next day I started looking into getting an appointment with a specialist to see if Lindsay had some kind of learning disorder. A few days later, the doctor could see us. So after Jeremy left for work, I brought Lindsay in and waited for the doctor to talk to me. After a few hours, the doctor invited me into his office and sat me down. What he said next completely shocked me.
Mrs. Langston, after a thorough examination, I found that Lindsay does not have a learning disability.
Oh, that's wonderful. But then, what's going on with her? Why is she quiet and not doing well in school?
That's what I really need to speak to you about. The reason Lindsay isn't doing well in school and is shutting people out is because of her stepfather.
What? Jeremy? That's not true. He adores Lindsay. He spends as much time with her as he can. He helps her with all of her homework and tucks her into bed at night.
That's the problem, Mrs. Langston. Lindsay confided in me that when she and her stepfather are alone together, he touches her inappropriately, and he tells her to keep it a secret so neither one of them will get into trouble.
I couldn't believe what I'd heard. My husband had been molesting my daughter? I almost didn't want to believe it, but I did for Lindsay's sake. As awful as I felt hearing about it, she was the one suffering, and I had to put her well-being over my feelings. Is there anything I can do to help Lindsay? The doctor advised me to take Lindsay to the hospital so a couple of doctors could examine her, and to find a therapist that she could talk to. He also provided me with several resources for family members of abuse victims to help me help my daughter. He also told me it would be beneficial to keep Jeremy and Lindsay separate. I was way ahead of him there. I had absolutely no intention of allowing that bastard near my child anymore. For now, I would be able to stay at a friend's place with Lindsay. She would keep it a secret where we were so we wouldn't have to worry about him trying to find us and bring us back to the house. A few days later, I was searching for a good divorce lawyer and stumbled across the page of Jeremy's ex-girlfriend. He'd mentioned her a couple weeks into our relationship, and he made her out to be some kind of villain. Back then, he seemed trustworthy enough that I never questioned him. Of course, I knew better now. I scrolled through her page and found out that she also had a daughter. I wondered if Jeremy had abused her too, so I reached out. Her name was Jennifer, and she confirmed my suspicions. Jeremy had sexually touched her daughter in secret during their relationship. I told her that the same had happened with Lindsay, and we both knew that we needed to do something, or else he would continue to abuse my child. It was bad enough that he had hurt my own daughter, but to find out that he had done this before, and that he had gotten away with it was almost too much for me to take. It made me so incredibly angry, and so I created an anonymous account on a few social media websites and posted his pictures along with some rather strong words, indicating how he had hurt children in the past, and that if you dated him, that you should ask your own children if he hurt them as well. I knew that it wasn't the smartest thing to do, but I was just so mad, and I wanted him to pay for what he had done. Not to mention that there was a chance that our daughters weren't his first victims, and if he had hurt others, they also deserved to know that would pay for his crimes. After that, I met up with Jennifer, and together, so we both met up with our daughters and immediately went to the police. One of the female officers listened to our stories and took us seriously. She sent out officers to the house and arrested Jeremy, who insisted that he was innocent and that his arrest was some kind of mistake. Then he saw me and Jennifer with our daughters, and he realized that I knew what he had been doing. I couldn't help but smile when I saw Jeremy's face and noticed that he had a black eye and a split lip. The police later informed me that Jeremy had been receiving threats from the community, as well as having been attacked a few times by random strangers on the street. It would seem that the community now knew what kind of a monster that he was and had begun to take justice into their own hands. On top of that, the police told us that we weren't the first women to come to the station to report that Jeremy had hurt our daughters. 2 other women had come in and filed reports and even had evidence to back up their claims as well. When I asked the officers what would be done to Jeremy now that he was in custody, they winked at me and told me that people like him don't usually have comfortable nights while in jail. Chances were pretty high that a black eye and a split lip would be the least of his problems once the other inmates found out why he had been arrested. The police pressed charges against him, and his trial was quick. Because of Lindsay and Jennifer's daughter coming forward to talk about what Jeremy did to them, as well as the 2 other women, the judge gave him a life sentence and he was taken away. It was all over the news in our town, so if he ever got out, he would never be allowed to forget. I divorced him while he was in prison, and I've been doing my best to move on with my life. Lindsay still has a lot of healing to do, and so does Jennifer and her own daughter. But the process will be a lot easier now that the monster responsible will spend the rest of his life getting exactly what he deserves behind bars.